Aloha! How are you doing today, brother?
What's up, Gazoo?
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Did you say kazoo?
Gazoo. You made Mr. Bombay yesterday, so I'm
like Dr. Bombay. He'd be very insulted if you didn't recognize his witch doctor title. But yeah, I love the great Gazoo. He was, for those of you who don't know, he was Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble's Martian friend at the end of the series when they ran out of ideas.
Now, you never know about I told you about my relationship with Gazoo.
Well, the viewers don't know your relationship.
Well, when I was a kid, there was a lot going on in my house, and I always felt like kind of alone, and I always felt like I needed a really close friend. I had friends, but I didn't have like a Gazoo. So Gazoo from Fred Flintstone was his little buddy. He would fly on his shoulder, and he'd talk to him. Nobody would see him but Fred Flintstone. So I kind of incorporated Gazoo into my life, and anytime I needed to talk to somebody, I go in the little corner and I talk to Gazoo. So Gazoo has been a big part of my childhood.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I always thought that character. I always liked him. I always liked him a lot. You know.
Yeah. Oh, Gazoo's the best. Because Gazoo is like slap you in the head and say, "Stop being an idiot, Fred."
Yeah, and I think Gazoo was the beginning of the cartoon trope with the good angel and the bad angel.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, it would have been good if Jackie and Lisa on the honeymooners had a Gazoo because he was always getting himself in trouble.
Yeah.
You know something else? There's a return of something.
The return of the honeymooners?
Of my glasses.
Oh, yeah.
My glasses were broken, and I just got them back from the shop.
That's excellent. For those of you out there who are wondering, yes, my glasses are not crooked today because I've got on my show glasses, not my house glasses, fortunately. And Anthony, you remember when we first started No Vacancy Live? And
when we actually talked about real stuff and not just our glasses and Gazoo? Yeah, I remember.
This is some serious hot glasses talk here. Remember how like I was wearing that pair of glasses and because we were in the thick of the shutdown, they broke and then I had tape on them and then they were crooked and then my backup pair broke.
Yeah, I remember. And I would wear heavy sweatshirts and look like I just rolled out of bed. Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. The good old days. But fortunately, that's behind us as the hotel industry and travel in general is moving forward in an unprecedented way. Now, Anthony, I'm your bad angel on your shoulder, so I'm thinking let's bring in the good angel on your shoulder. The incredible Sarah Dandashy is back from Ask the Concierge. Sarah, you know we absolutely love you for keeping us on the right and righteous path, unlike me, who's always trying to steer Anthony down the drain.
You were giving me way too much credit, I have to say.
So, Sarah, I'm going to ask you a question just right out of the gate. Now, you've become a real travel expert, and you've really done an incredible job with your career. Ask a Concierge. Are you keeping that name as you launch into your next mega projects, or are you going to change that to be more in the travel? So I was just thinking about that as I saw your name.
That's a really good question. I definitely.
But you have thought about it, right?
Oh yeah, I absolutely have. I've totally thought about it, and I'm thinking of basically, I mean, pretty much just doing everything under my name as Sarah Dandashy. Go figure. But that is something. But it's like I'm like it's getting to the point, but. We'll see. I don't know. Ask a Concierge is also such a catchy, fun name that's been kind of.
I like it, and I like it. And my opinion is, I think I would put a lot of thought into it. But I think at the end of the day, if you were asking me if I was a board director of your company, probably want to leave it.
Oh, to leave it and move on.
I think you want to leave. No, I think you leave it the way it is.
Oh, leave it the way it is. Yeah. I mean, I've also been looking at, kind of like growing the personal brand as well, too. I mean, it kind of like all encompassing. So, I mean, I am Ask a Concierge. So why not?
Yeah. Why not?
Absolutely.
Now, Sarah, you're going to stick with that job, but I understand that half of hospitality workers are saying they don't want to stick with their jobs anymore, right?
That's correct. Actually, so this was really interesting. Obviously, we all have been talking about the staffing crisis, what's going on in hospitality. And by the way, when we're talking about hospitality, we're talking about everything from restaurants, hotels to airlines also having a really big big sort of they're having a hard time hiring people. So they're actually really interesting. There was a survey that came out by Job List, and they found that about just over 50% of participants said that they were not interested in going back to their old jobs within the hospitality industry. So that is huge. I mean, a lot of them, they were looking for different things. 45% said that they were looking for higher pay. You've got 29% said that they wanted to secure better employment benefits. 20% wanted more flexibility. 16% said they wanted to work remotely. So these are some really sobering numbers, especially right now, as as businesses, and whether it's hotel owners, really trying to figure out how can we attract the right the right people, the right employees. I mean, these are some sobering numbers. It's pretty interesting. What do you guys think of this?
I think you're absolutely right. And I will see you and raise you. And of course, you guys know we got the book, The Adapters, that I worked on with Sean Worker. Now, our executive editor over there, Andrea Worker, we just had her publish an article in eHotelier magazine. And we talked about all of these factors in that article that are keeping employees from returning to work. And it's much more complicated than the general media and certain executives would like you to believe.
Oh, 100%.
Listen, every single one of us wants to be the famous ballerina or the famous baseball player or the famous whatever lawyer or the famous they want to have their control of the world. They want to be the Derek Jeter. They want everyone to come to them, and they want to be in charge, and they want stability. Mm-hmm. When you're working in a job where you have to listen to a supervisor or a boss for X amount of dollars that you don't feel like you should be getting more money, and your medical benefits, you're really not doing very well, and you're having to pay hundreds of dollars a month, plus you have to pay for cab fare, plus, subway and all that stuff. It's like, is anyone shocked? I did not see that this would be the moment. But we've talked about this for now years, Glenn, that remember I would get myself into problems where everybody was talking about the $15 an hour wage. And I was like, are you kidding me, right? We're really arguing that people shouldn't get paid $15 an hour to clean a room. Give me a break. So I've said that way before this moment in time. And we're having the moment in time. And I would say good for the employee and good for the blue collar worker. With that said, do not overplay your hand.
Yes.
And that is where people get themselves in trouble. Do not overplay your hand. The people with the money win. The people with the money win. The people with the money win. So play it well. Don't overplay it. Does that make sense?
There you go.
I love it. Now, I want everybody to stick around, because in just a few minutes, we're going to have on Geoff Graf with Hogan Hospitality out of Hawaii to talk about what's going on over there. But Sarah, that's way out there in the middle of the ocean. Now I'm here. I'm an East Coast guy, and the Northeast Corridor seems to be the only place people use that incredible Amtrak system that they have out there. So I understand they got some big news.
Yeah, they do. Actually, this has been kind of interesting. Well, first of all, for those that might have been following along, over the past year, there has been a huge surge in train travel. I mean, go figure. People were trying to find other ways to get out there if they weren't comfortable being on planes and all of that. And so Amtrak has actually really, really, really been growing. Fun fact, actually, from way before, I actually had interviewed one of the CEOs of Amtrak Vacations, cool. And they said something about like 80% of all people traveling via train, that is their first time traveling via train.
Wow.
So it's insane. It's one of those industries that it's like, it becomes like this bucket list sort of experience, and kind of rightfully so. And then obviously they also have a lot of destinations. They can go to those outdoor places, be it national parks, etc. But a big thing with Amtrak, kind of going off of this surge, is that they just announced that they're going to be investing $7.3 billion in a new fleet of modern trains. And this is really, really cool. They're going to add probably about 83 more multi-powered modern trains. And by multi-powered, we're basically talking about a hybrid battery operated train, which is huge. And to be honest, I don't know why we haven't gotten here before as far as like technology and implementing it, but they are doing that. And it's definitely going to be I mean, a new way to ride trains for
Yeah,
sure.
and it's really interesting when things like this happen, like pandemics. What changes? Like the employees empowered, the train company is now getting a whole bunch of visitors they wouldn't have had before. And also, I think what's really important is every time that Sarah says "fun fact," Glenn, I think you should hit a button and make a noise. You have to have a fun fact.
Wait. Are you saying I'm allowed to make a noise?
Yeah, make one of those noises. When she says "fun fact," you hit that. There you go. Oh, that's not that. So, matter of fact, from now on, every time we have Sarah on, like now you say her name, you introduce her, and hit that button again. Does that sound like a perfect sound for Sarah?
Yeah, it is. And then every time we introduce you, we'll go.
Now, Sarah, you see why I've taken the ability for him to make those sounds away from him?
Which was probably a good choice. The audience agrees. Sorry.
Anyway, so those are fun facts, and it's interesting. I didn't realize that. I did a show called 5-Star Secrets, and we went around Europe, and we were in Spain, and we took, I can't remember the name of the train, but it was a famous train, historic line, and we went around the most beautiful parts of Spain, and it was incredible. It was absolutely
incredible. By the way, terrible dinner show.
But you know what? One of the things that I took away from it, I highly suggest people do it. It was a great experience for me. Not my thing. Like I had the VIP section. I had the chef cooking for me. It was beautiful. I wasn't on the train for 20 hours. I was only on the train for like 5 or 6 hours. Not my thing. Like I loved it and I would do it again.
Right.
It's not something that really, like I love cars. I'd rather have a driver drive me around than be on the train.
Well, if you ever want to be on the train for just 5 or 6 hours, take the Long Island Railroad for the 20-minute trip to the city.
Or you take the two from Rockaway, or the A train from Rockaway into Manhattan. I can get to Washington, D.C. walking faster than I can get to Manhattan from the A train.
Or you sure can. All right, listen, we got to get Geoff on here soon. I'm loving Sarah. But Sarah, you've got one more story. Now, you mentioned Amtrak is taking people to a lot of parks. Those were remote vacations, right?
Yeah.
That seems to be coming into its own these days.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we get the concept of remote vacations, but it's also a little bit different. So when we're talking about remote vacations, we're talking about like maybe going and like staying in a cabin or something, anywhere from like 1 to 3 hours from home. Obviously it's been a popular option, but there's another aspect to it that a lot of people haven't really been thinking about, but a lot of people are opting to basically go off the grid. So about 83% have said that they decided to go actually without having internet access. And 75% actually said without cell service. And then afterwards, most of them, I think it was like 83% actually said that they felt more relaxed and more comfortable and more rejuvenated after doing that. So that's another aspect that's pretty interesting. And I have to say, I went to Utah a couple weeks ago, and for chunks of the day, I'm talking about 12 hours, I didn't have access to the internet, no cell service, and it was pretty nice.
You know what? If I didn't have children, I would literally go a week without looking. I would just tell people, if you need me, here's my house number. People that I do business with, here's my house number. Call me. I'm going off the grid. Like it is. Like I am with this phone. Look. Everybody, grab their phone. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Grab your phone. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Okay. Grab a bottle of water. Everybody, grab a bottle of water.
I got a glass.
I have.
Okay.
Coffee.
Okay, so we depend on our cell phone as much as we depend on water. Okay, that's crazy. And I don't want to be on my phone. I want to be away from my phone. So as soon as my kids are, even when they're married, I'm going to make sure I'm on speed dial with them. It's just the phone is really, I think, has changed the world. But that is, I really would love. I had a friend that sent one of their family members away for the summer, basically, and they didn't have a lot of cell service. And they came back and they were so much happier and so much more relaxed. And, you know, on one hand, I really try to use it for relaxation because I love TikTok, so I'll go on TikTok at night or something. But I really listen, and emails, like everybody knows I'm famous for not responding to emails, and people yell at me. I'm like, text messages, fine. But once I go to the emails, then what happens? I'm on the emails forever. So I think what I want to say, I know, Sarah, we got to wrap up, but those were a lot of fun facts, Glenn.
Yes.
Actually, as we say goodbye to her, as she's going, we got to do that.
All right. Yeah. Unfortunately, anytime I say something on the show, we get this response.
Two things I want to say. One, there's something going on with your camera. I don't know if there's something.
There was.
Yeah, there you go. And number two, and I want to say this while Sarah's on, because Sarah's a big part of this.
Okay.
From somebody really big in the industry, somebody I really, really respect. They said to me, I think it was last night or this morning, that what we have done, this show has done for the industry, from people that are line employees to mid-level managers to the top executives, that they still every single day, even the pandemic is kind of not in the rearview mirror, but things are getting back to normal, that they still depend on it from as a company and individually. So Sarah, thank you, because you've been a big part of helping us make this show grow. And, people really, really, really value the show, and they value the content. And I know you really work hard on giving us fun facts and really great content we can use. So thank you.
Oh, Anthony, thank you. Well, it's been great to be part of the journey. All of us too,
I have one more question.
Uh-oh.
Where's your book?
Oh, great news. I'm actually in final stages. So we're
what? A book?
Yeah, but more on that later.
Yes, I know. We keep wanting to promote you, but you're not ready yet. Well, if you all are trying to buy a book right now, get the adapters. Go to the buy it on Amazon.com. All right, Sarah, any final parting words before we let you go for the day?
No, just thank you as always for having me on. It's always fun. It's a highlight of my day, week, month, whatever. And
life, I was thinking.
Oh.
All right, maybe
we're not time for that.
All right. No.
Where's the next conference that we're going to be together? We're all going to be together.
I don't know. Are you going to Dallas for a HOA?
Yeah, Anthony, are you going?
You go to Alice?
I mean, I can swing
by because you're in LA anyway.
Wait, are you going to Alice? If you're going to Alice, make sure you bring your workout clothes, because we're gonna have a
wine competition.
We're gonna have one.
Okay, deal.
All right.
Okay.
Are you able to do a 10-minute plank yet?
I'm working on it.
All right.
So on Tuesday, July 22nd. July 27th. Tune in to No Vacancy Live for our first annual Plankathon.
What date is that? What date is that, Glenn?
I'm thinking Tuesday the 27th. If she wants
to the 27th, you get nervous.
That'd be perfect.
We're gonna have a plank off, and just be prepared for at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Right. Cool. And the loser, but the person that doesn't win buys Glenn a great meal.
I love that.
Easy.
So you win, Glenn. So you win.
I'm a big winner. Either way, and I've got just the place. All right, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here.
Amazing.
We really appreciate you. All right, now plank off. See you later.
Thank you.
All right.
She is one of my favorite humans in this industry. She is just, again, she's wonderful. She presents well. She's articulate, but she is a badass grinder. She grinds and she grinds and she grinds, and she just works her ass off. And I just respect that level of tenacity with the beautiful smile and with the whole, just a great presentation. So again, I told her I would never, ever give her another compliment, but I can't help it.
Yeah, I know. Well, both of us.
Is she in the background smiling, I hope?
I know. Well, yep. She's smiling and nodding. All right. So moving from the west coast of the United States, even further out to one of the great islands of our 50th state, Hawaii, Geoff Graf of Hogan Hospitality. Geoff, I'm a little shocked that you're actually coming back again after your appearance last month on Friday Night Audit. First of all, glad you didn't get fired for it. And second of all, thanks for trusting us to come back for a more legitimate interview. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. Well, after that last one, which was conducted in a bar, I don't remember anything. So that's coming back.
It was
it's one thing to be working from Hawaii. It's another thing to shove it in our face, Geoff.
I know, right? Look at all that tropics behind him.
The shirt, glasses, the tropics, the relaxation. This is just, I don't know if that's fair.
Well, to make it even worse, I'm not actually here at their property, the Royal Kona, right now. I really wish I was. Geoff, you're a very lucky man getting to live and work out there in Hawaii. We're going to talk about specifically what you guys are over at up to over at Hogan Hospitality Group. But I keep seeing story after story after story. Hawaii's thankful to have tourism back, but you're not quite prepared. It's a little too much, too quick. What's the actual truth of what's going on over there?
Well, as with most things, it's, some truth in all the stories you're reading. But there's also some falsehoods, baked into most of them. We are definitely experiencing a huge boom, much faster than we ever thought we would see it happening. Of course, we never thought we would ever end up in a situation like last year where we were at 0% occupancy.
Right.
I've said before, if I would have ever presented a worst case scenario during budget season that showed us below 40% on any island, I would have been fired on the spot.
Right.
And then we go to 0. So now, I can talk about our properties. We're running, 90-95% at all of our properties.
Wow.
Rates are above 2019 levels. The demand is there. And as you know, it's all domestic.
Right.
Where are you going to go right now? Feel safe. And obviously from the West Coast, it's just a short hop. And then get an exotic location. So
yeah, you got a great point there, Geoff. And I kind of was under the same thing. I was planning my honeymoon in the fall of 2001 for a summer trip the following summer, right? Fall of 2001, in summer 2001, I'm like, we're going to go to Tahiti. But then after the attacks on 9/11, I'm like, I want somewhere safe. I want to be domestic. Hawaii is the most incredible place to go. And while it was cliched for a honeymoon destination, boy, oh boy, am I glad we did that, because your state is some of the most beautiful places in the entire world. So I can understand why people are flocking back to it for multiple reasons over there. Yeah,
we love it. And you are right, though. As I said, there's some truth to every story.
Yep.
We have some staffing issues like everywhere. I have to say it's not as bad as we're experiencing on the mainland. But it is difficult. We are having some challenges, more so in actually our front office guest services areas than we are in housekeeping, which is somewhat opposite to what we're experiencing on the mainland.
Right.
I apologize for looking at my phone, Geoff. I just had to deal with something quick. I apologize.
Anthony, after all that talk about you hating your phone and everything, I'm a little taken. I know I'm not articulate and good looking like Sarah, but
You know what? Sometimes there's things you have to deal with, that are time sensitive. And if somebody sends me a text message that's time sensitive, that means I got to respond. So I apologize, but I love Hawaii. I love Kona. I love Maui. I love them all. I just love them. I still love going to Kona. I told you that story, Glenn. When I went to Kona, I was at the Four Seasons Maui, and they helicoptered me over to Kona. I pressed some coffee, and I got back on the helicopter. It was one of those magical days of my life.
I had just eradicated it from my memory because I was so jealous of it. Thanks for bringing that back. Now I'll have to.
You know what's so funny is when I go back and look at all the things I've done, I actually am jealous of myself. And I look at it and I'm like, when I was doing all this stuff, it was just me working, trying to hit my mark, right? I was just doing my job. And so when you're working, whether you're working, bussing tables or working, doing what I was doing, right, you're just in the zone.
So
and
true.
then I was just like, if I was watching somebody do all the great things that I got to do, I'd be like, what an ass. Like, I want to do that.
Right.
But so now I'm jealous of Geoff. So what's going on with development in Hawaii? Is there a lot of attention now on really wanting to develop, or are people taking wait and see approach?
Well, as you know, Anthony, development in Hawaii is a little tough. We largely, for the most part, end up recycling things,
right.
Older buildings and so forth, particularly in the more developed areas, Oahu for one.
Right.
But we are seeing some new development out on the west side, and I'm sure you've seen that. But mostly we're renovating, repositioning, reimagining, some of our older products. So There is development on the neighbor islands, although you may have read that recently Maui voted to limit new development in certain areas of Maui, basically the south and west side, which would encompass Kihei, Wailea, Kaanapali, Kapalua areas.
I don't know. I know Maui just by visiting it, but I would imagine that's a good decision. It's kind of like St. John's in the Bahamas. The reason you go to St. John's or you go to Maui is because you just want. I was there during the busiest time of the year for Maui, whenever that was. I've been there a couple of times during the busiest time, and it felt like it was empty. It felt like there was nothing going on, and it was packed. All the hotels were packed, and I think that to me is the attraction of Maui. No matter how busy it is, it feels like it's your own island.
Yeah, no, Maui's great, and you can always find a spot that
Right.
it seems like you're the only one on the beach. So I mean, social media has changed a little bit of that, obviously. Geotagging certain spots. We're a little sensitive. If we've got a good surf spot or something, we've trained the locals, if you want to call it that. We don't tell people where we are. We might say we had a great day surfing, but we're not going to geotag our favorite surf
People
spot.
find that spot and then it's over.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
That's fascinating. All right, I got a couple of questions in regards to curtailing development. Is it just hotel development or is it all development?
no, right now. So, for instance, the Maui decision that is specific to hotel development.
Okay.
And the situation that's arisen is really we have visitors coming in, largely domestic. Usually we have obviously West Coast is our bread and butter, but with our international visitors, they travel differently, and our domestic West Coast, they all want to have a rental car, they all want to be out and about, and they really are, I would say, far more independent and adventurous than some of our international travelers who may or may not be here for the first time, who are experiencing, kind of your traditional visitor attractions. Whereas more and more, people want to get out. We were just talking about geotagging. They're exploring social media. They want to see, what they view as, the real Hawaii. They want to visit the spots that the local residents go to. They want to find that beach. Right. And, sometimes it does get crowded. We're experiencing some delays at airports and so forth. And it's all because of the influx of people coming in from the West Coast.
So basically the infrastructure is being taxed not in the financial way, but in overusage. So the island really had to do something in order to prevent that from getting worse. Is that the philosophy behind it?
It is. And look, right now, like I said, we're running 95% of our properties.
Hey.
But, we know that that's going to change come the fall.
Right.
So right now, everybody's gone from basically zero. We were at a stop sign, and we're in a Tesla or something that goes from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And it was basically what it feels like for some people, right? And that they're not used to it.
I disagree. I don't think your fall is going to be slow. I think your fall. Are you saying that it's going to slow up in the fall and get back to normal?
Yeah, well, we not normal. It's still going to be busy.
It's still going to be, because I don't see this. I see this pent up demand going on for a year, and I would imagine that the reason that people are more sensitive to development now is that year that you guys were down, that we were all down, especially in Hawaii. You can really see everything from your beaches to the mountains. Everything came back. I would imagine that everybody being away and not as many cars and not as many people, that it looked lush and it was coming back. And I would imagine the natives looked at it and said, Hawaii looks more beautiful than it's looked in many, many years, because there's not as many tourists destroying, not destroying, but using the islands.
Absolutely. I mean, the clarity of the water was spectacular. Hanama Bay, which everybody knows, really blossomed and came back, and they're restricting that usage now too. We did learn some things from that time period. So Anthony, you're right. And when I say, I don't expect it to continue at 95%. I think we're going to drop down to maybe somewhere between 85 to 90, which most people.
It's incredible since the events haven't necessarily come back.
Events, we don't have big, large groups, conventions going on. Again, it's all domestic, and it's pretty amazing to see it come back so strong and stay there. Anthony's right. There's still going to be no place to go. International travel is going to be constrained for minimum a year. And that's going to continue to put us in the spotlight as that safe, exotic destination to go to.
How's Japan doing? Is Japan coming in, or they're still restricted?
They're basically restricted. There's with Japan right now, what's going on with the Olympics and so forth. And
for those of you who don't know, there's going to be no spectators at all. Only 12% of the adult population or so has been vaccinated. They're way behind where we are.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some athletes here from Hawaii, and we've actually got a few of the Olympic teams in training to adjust to the weather right now. And I, fortunate to personally know a few of them.
Awesome.
That are going down, and their families are really disappointed because here they made the Olympics in volleyball or surfing, and everybody wants to go and be a part of that, and they're not going to be able to go. So, as a matter of fact, I was speaking to one of the fathers just the other day, and he said that as soon as his son finishes, wherever, we're all hoping that he wins. But he's got to come home. So there's not even a closing ceremony for him.
Oh, there's no wow. I remember.
I believe there's a closing ceremony.
It's just he won't be there.
The athletes, once they're done, apparently they've got to come home.
That is such a shame. I mean, these kids have worked their whole lives that they can remember on this, and to have that taken away from them is kind of,
and have it taken away again because it was supposed to happen already. But at least they're able to compete. Hopefully, it'll all work out. But I remember Lake Placid back in the '80s, and just the sheer intensity of the swapping of pins and the regalia and just the enthusiasm, and it just took over the world. And not to have that for the families. Listen, my daughter was about to play in her first volleyball team for college, and she tore her ACL. And I was just excited to watch her streaming it because we weren't allowed to be there. And that was disappointing. I cried over that, so I couldn't imagine if they were for the Olympics and I wasn't able to go. So just, but hopefully the Olympics will happen, and at least they'll be able to do what they've worked so hard to do for so long.
Yeah. Anthony, you just mentioned that, you about your daughter. And so I was going to give you the phone thing earlier because I have two daughters. So I know what it's like when you got to get to your phone right away.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't have a phone if I didn't. And they expect, because they know, like right now, if my daughter calls, Glenn knows. I stop my podcast.
Yeah.
I go off and I respond to my daughter because you never know.
Right.
And they should know by now, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, I'm on a podcast. But they still don't know.
Right.
Know. My wife doesn't know. She called me the other day. I was like right in the middle of shooting Serendipity Live, and she calls me.
Yep, I get that all the time.
Everybody knows it's 12 to 1 for you. It's 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. for me.
Oh, because the by the way,
it's like it's like 6:30 in the morning now, or isn't it? Right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But the good thing is my day will end earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like being in Hawaii because my day is always over by like 1 o'clock local time, because East Coast, everyone's just done. It's the best.
So, Geoff, we accept your invitation to do our podcast from there. We will be in California on the 27th, so it is a pretty quick flight for us to go right from there to Hawaii. So we accept your invitation. All you have to do is we'll even pay our own airfare. Just put us up in the rooms. We'll do it live. Accepted. Thank you very much.
You do know he's running 95% occupancy, so maybe we
listen. We sleep on the beach.
Oh,
There you go. I mean, what's better? We can actually fly back together because I'll be at Alice as well. So
cool. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So when you go to an event like Alice, what are you really trying to achieve? Because you're in a very specific location. You also have properties in California, if I recall, right?
Yeah, we're actually on the West Coast, and so and that's really our growth area. Obviously,
well, you're certainly not going to grow anymore in Maui if you can't build any more hotels, for example, right?
Well, and we're pretty specific in what we want to do and what we want to target. We don't want to be that company that has a hotel on every corner.
Right.
I actually used to work for that company.
Yeah.
We want to have certain locations on every island. So we are lacking an island right now because we're not on Oahu, and we want to be here, but it's a harder market to get into at this point. Right. But on the West Coast, which is primarily where our growth plans are currently, we're in California, Arizona, Oregon. We're working with some properties up in Washington right now. So our focus is anything, our preference is anything west of the Rockies right now. We have managed properties, as far east as New Jersey, Pennsylvania, so forth. The reality is, and this was focused on during the pandemic, during that time period where we had some properties where because of size or the revenue that they were generating or not generating, it didn't always make sense for them to have us involved in the property. And so we actually shrank a little bit,
right?
But we shrank because we knew that it wasn't the right thing for the owner out. And some of those cases, those hotels were repurposed, closed. But we also gained some properties, and more in what I like to term as a geographically friendly area, which is an area where we have more personnel or some more hotels within that region,
right?
That provides more support, and we can do a better job. And that's really what we're all about. We don't want to be there unless we can do the best job possible for that owner. And Glenn, I've told you this before, and Anthony, I'm sure we're owners. Here in Hawaii, we own the Royal Lahaina Resort, the Royal Kona, which is behind you there. I need to get you an updated picture because you're not showing all the improvements that
honestly, you need to get booking.com and a lot of other sorts that picture. I'm not saying where I got the photo from, but I've noticed it online a bunch.
Well, I will get it to you because that's one of our iconic properties, obviously, Kona.
Yeah, so. for sure. And, for those of you who don't know, Hogan Hospitality, I think, goes back to like 1959, if I'm not mistaken. So a great opportunity for the, Mr. and Mrs. Hogan to have like really just opened up, properties when Hawaii was really a nascent tourism destination.
Absolutely. I mean, if it weren't for the Hogan family and the Kelly family of Outrigger Hotel fame.
Oh, yeah.
Those two families put Hawaii on the map. The Kellys had the hotels, and the Hogans were the number one tour operator into Hawaii with Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays. So, the family history is pretty deep as far as tourism goes. So it's a nice story, and it's still a family-owned company.
Right.
Which is nice.
Yeah, I remember growing up, you couldn't turn on the TV without seeing a commercial for Hawaii. You just couldn't. It was the big thing. And then the Brady Bunch, right? Then everybody wanted to go to Hawaii. I would imagine there was a major surge after the Brady Bunch went to Hawaii because that's when, in the days where everybody watched the same show.
I also learned if you're going to go try to find a cave in the woods, don't leave popcorn for your trail because birds are going to eat it and then you're going to be lost and have to deal with Vincent Price. And nobody wants to have to do that.
Absolutely
not. Mr. Bombay, Dr. Bombay would have never done that.
No, he would have just snapped his fingers or wiggled his nose and something would have happened. All right. Check yesterday's show to learn all about the importance of Dr. Bombay. Geoff, so I love that the birds are in your background. Producer Suzanne is mentioning that right now. it makes me think you're in this incredible tropical environment. How do you stay sharp as a professional when you're distracted by tropical location, a tropical location and a much more laid back lifestyle? Here in New York, it's easy to work, because that's the energy and culture here. It's a little bit different out in Hawaii.
Well, you work smarter. Like I said, I'm going to knock off a little early today because I started a little earlier, but I didn't start that much earlier than normal anyways. But I'm sorry, Glenn, it's not going to be 1 o'clock in the afternoon that I knock off. It might be a bit later than that.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. I mean, you do live there, so,
Yeah, but, I'll still get in the water this afternoon, and it's good. There's no problem focusing. We've all got jobs to do. We're busy. I like to think that we work smart, and we don't necessarily think that if you have to spend 4 hours doing a specific task when you can get it done in one. So that's kind of how we do it.
And I think what's happening now, there's a client of mine. They're all going back to the office, and the older people are all excited about going, and the younger people are like, why do we have to go back to the office? And it's proven that they're probably more efficient, as I'm hearing, if they just do like half at work, half at home. And that's one of the fallacies I think that's been kind of corrected, that people working from home are no less efficient than people working in office. And I know I've traveled all over the world, and I'm no less efficient working from Hawaii or Vietnam or Spain than I was when I worked from my home, work from my office. Matter of fact, I'm probably more efficient because I have realized I don't stop working. Like, right. I'm working all the time, and which is not good. And I'm actually going to fix that in the next couple of months, because I have not had a vacation in 3 years, and I have worked 7 days a week for 3 years, and I'm done. I've got to stop. So working from home, you work more, I think, at least for me. Absolutely.
I mean, I was in the same boat, and a couple of months ago realized that I needed to make a change because, when I already had a hybrid work style anyways. Right. I'm on the mainland a lot at our Sausalito office for Marin Management. So I'm on the West Coast quite a bit. That got curtailed for a little while, initially during COVID. But then it started back up again. And I just stayed a little bit longer on the West Coast each time rather than the frequency of the visits. But I found myself, basically starting work by 6 a.m. every day, and in some cases not finishing until 7 p.m. because it was just so easy to keep on going. And now that's not healthy for anybody. But to say that you're not productive by working at home, I'm at home right now. My daughters are still asleep, so I'm in the backyard. I thought
your backyard sucks. Your backyard sucks.
I will raise you, your daughter being asleep at 6:45 to my boys being asleep at 12:45 still. And I don't care. Let them wake up.
So before we wrap up, I know we're about to wrap up, but going, the next 12 months, 18 months, as you're getting more clients into your business, are you concerned that because of this pent-up demand and the numbers that you're putting on the books, that the owners that you're going to be taking over for, do you think that you're going to be able to explain to them, don't expect this for the next 36 months, 48 months? Is there going to be a problem setting expectations?
Anthony, if you're honest up front, which, I like to say we can be brutally honest with our clients and let them know. So we're forecasting, and reforecasting as things change. We've done a lot of forecasting for a while there. When this all started, it was just a senseless task. And we realized, hey, until we kind of know what's going to happen, where we can be open in some areas, or, the local jurisdiction is going to relax some of its rules. It's kind of senseless to keep reforecasting. But now that we're up and running, and our hotels, especially our leisure hotels on the mainland, and obviously here, as we've been talking about, we continually look at it, and if we need to reforecast, we're going to do it. And if we see anything in the future that is a possible red flag for an owner, we're going to alert them to it. we're way better off, doing that than having them think is you mentioned that, oh, this is just going to continue. Now the reality is some people get it in their mind that, I did X amount this last year, so I should be doing X plus this year. And if you do that for, look, in Hawaii, we were doing that.
Right.
And it got to the point to where we said, we can't keep forecasting that we're already running, in the mid 90s with our occupancy. And there's only so much we can push the rate.
Right.
So you kind of get into the situation to where you've got to tailor it back. I mean, you don't want to be in a situation to where you're actually forecasting on your annual, during your annual budget process, to where it's actually going to be a little bit less than it was the year before, unless you can have a really good explanation as to why this year was better than the year that's coming. And in some cases that we have events like RIMPAC, which is a big military exercise here in Hawaii. And it puts some constraints on the inventory on Oahu primarily, but it does push out. And that's an every other year event. So we know if it's a RIMPAC year, then, we've got something to say, okay, well, if it's a non-RIMPAC year, okay, well, there's a possibility that we're going to be down a little bit from the previous year. So there are things like that, but they're small adjustments. But you just need to be open and keep that dialogue open with your owners, which, again, being owners ourselves, we pride ourselves on doing that.
So Geoff, you make some great points, and honesty is so essential. And that's why you're going to find success at events like Alice coming up. Now, if people want to reach out to you, how can we find you? How can we learn more about Hogan Hospitality? How can we learn about partnering on developing hotels in California? Or
the shameless plug time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I wait for this.
It's the best part of the show.
Well, one of the easy ways is I am on LinkedIn, Geoff Graf, Hogan Hospitality Group, but anybody can give me a call. I don't mind giving out my cell, which is 808-351-9086. My email address is Geoff, Geoff spelled the proper way, Geoff at HoganHospitalityGroup.com. So pretty easy there. Or look up Marin Management on the mainland. And like I said, we're based out of Sausalito. And our president is there of Marin Management, Pat Mitchell. I'll have her at Alice with me. And also we have a VP development out of our Sausalito office as well, Kim Ali. And we'll all be at Alice. So we're looking forward to seeing people that we haven't seen, for now. I think the last conference I went to was Click in
that March. Yep, and that was by our good friend and my Friday night partner Craig Sullivan. Learn more about them at cliconference.com. It's coming up October 5th. Finally back in person. Geoff, that last event that we did in 2020 was the last event in the hotel industry before we shut down. I remember driving to the airport with the wonderful Bruce Ford, and we were telling the driver, so you guys better watch out. Everything's about to shut down. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And everything kind of went downhill after that. Geoff, let's end on a positive note. Say something really wonderful about Hawaii and why people should go there, and then we'll let you go for the day.
Well, Hawaii, you need to come because of the Aloha spirit. We have it, and you will find it. You will experience it when you come.
All right. Excellent. Mahalo. And just remember, don't take any tikis out of construction sites. Otherwise, you're liable to wake up with a tarantula on your chest. Geoff, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you.
Glad. Thank you very much. Aloha.
See you later. Now you're muted. You're muted, Anthony.
Mahalo. That was funny, Glenn.
Got to bring up those Brady Bunch references.
I wanted to say something. You made me laugh, and I forgot. But it's all good. All right, brother.
All right, everybody. Remember, I know a lot of you out there love listening to our audio feed. In fact, some of you are doing it right now. So kudos to you. Those of you who want to subscribe, check us out on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, NoVacancyNews.com, of course, Stitcher Radio, wherever you like to get your podcast. Reach out to Anthony personally at Anthony Hotels. And of course, I am at Traveling with Glenn. We'll be back here tomorrow with another great show. We're going to be talking tomorrow, Anthony, all about taking empty room inventory and turning that into an incredibly successful marketing program. That's going to be really cool.
That would be very cool. People would really enjoy how to make more money.
Yeah, through bartering. So stick around for that. That's going to be really awesome. Remember, everybody, have a great day. And you've got one life. So blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
See y'all tomorrow.